Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect, where on the splash screen there's two workers stuck inside buildings. Oh, that paints a very dour picture of what we do around here. Anyway, this is the new Psych Ward DLC, as well as the accompanying free update called the Sneezer, which is billed at being one of the biggest updates to come to Prison Architect, with many additions, changes and improvements, and I'll go through those in but a moment. However, before we do that, in the previous series we went ahead and made a reform facility that spent a lot of its time below freezing, so in a hostile environment, and that means that not only did we have the additional challenge of trying to keep the prisoners, trying to keep them warm and make them not freeze to death, but also we had to do a lot of programs, so money was not forthcoming. We had to exploit the grant system and go ahead and borrow money and sell some shares, and because of that we had a high turnover of prisoners because of the parole, and overall it was quite a difficult build, but also quite an interesting and rewarding one. By the time we got to the end of the series, we managed to make it so we had decent reform, decent security. The only real issue was the problem with health, and we tried to do that with more programs and keeping people in the yard, so there was more exercise and feeding them more and that sort of thing. But because of the proximity to the wall and a lot of stuff that was being flung in, mainly sort of drugs and that sort of thing, we had some issues there. But that was quite an interesting one, and something we it was sort of a necessity because of the small map. Although I guess with the expansion we could have changed it. But overall, quite happy with it. I think we will also revisit that map at some point and upgrade the rating of the facility to more like a high-risk facility with sort of supermax and death row stuff, but that's for a future series. In this series we're taking a look at the new Sneezer update as well as the accompanying DLC, which is called Psych Ward, which has been out on consoles for quite some time but has recently hit PC, and it adds a new classification of inmate. It is the criminally insane inmate. Now, not only do they have special requirements and more challenges associated with them, you also have to have different reform programs like psychology, and there's different types of staff and rooms to keep them in order for them to... Did that person just get flung through a wall there? I think they might have done. Yes, so they have all different challenges and additional features to take care of, so that should be quite interesting. Also, I've not played it yet, so this is going to be a bit of a learning experience for me. But in this video, normally what we would do is plan off everything meticulously and then start building from the next one. Now, because I've got a throat infection, that ain't going to happen. What I want to do in this one is basically run through some of the changes and additions and then explain roughly what I want to accomplish, and then by the time we get to the next episode, we can start planning it from there. So apologies for the not jumping in right at the deep end and planning everything off, but needs must and all that. So let us take a quick look at the Sneezer updates patch notes, and also I'll explain the Psych Ward stuff, and then we'll do a rough idea and sort of plan of what we want to accomplish. By the way, today's beverage is a nice warm honey drink because my throat is hurting quite a bit. So the Sneezer update, we can see, has got a big set of patch notes. I'm going to go through some of this. It's not going to be an exhaustive list, you understand, but that's the Clink update, that's the Slam update. I didn't realise you could go all the way back. There we go. So in no particular order other than the very specific order of going top to bottom, we can see that windows can now be added to both sides of a vertical wall. So hopefully that allows us to see from externally to internally, because when you have guards walking around the outside, even if there's windows, they can't see because of the foundation stuff, but hopefully that is fixed. But either way, a nice if not beneficial line of sight improvement, just a nice aesthetic improvement as well. New walls, Art Deco and Oriental, good. New just options for building walls. New floors, which is limestone, grass and stones, sandstone and lunar. Don't really know where they're going with the latter, but interesting. New objects: sink, hairdryer, wall signs, spooky and secure trees, cactus, park bench, moose head, and more. So lots of new objects. In fact, there is a lot of new objects in the game. New doors: guard gate and secret bookcase door. The former I can really understand and appreciate. The latter, I'm just perplexed by why they would add that. A secret bookcase door? I can't imagine why would do that. Although you could do some sort of secret Shutter Islands of Cell Block 99 type thing, couldn't you, where it's all like a secret underground bit or nobody really knows about it. So yeah, it does have some application, which is fairly cool. We have new signs, signposts for rooms such as canteens and showers. Again, nice little aesthetic touch, and it should look fairly cool. A new grass corner to create angled pathways. Now, originally when I saw this, I didn't really appreciate as much as I probably should have done, because it means you can rotate and have a diagonal pathway. Now, whether or not the prisoners use it as intended remains to be seen, but we shall see how that goes. Next page, we can see we have multiple new dog types to choose from before and during the game, so you can get different ones. If I'll go to create new prison in a moment and show you that. We have option to choose the wall type for quick rooms. That's pretty cool. Room colors overlays can now be turned off in game options. That's alright. Extra most used item menu filter added. Now that was pretty much mandatory, I think, because of the amount of stuff that's been added. The tree is very bloated. When you look at the objects tab, it is very, very bloated, and requires a lot of scrolling. So most used item is fairly good. Finally, yes, finally, bridges are here. Lay them over roads, water, and other land for staff and prisoners to cross. That, in itself, is one of the best additions we've seen, because in previous builds, if you wanted to have prisoners go from the left-hand side of the map over to the right across the road, you either had to chance it and put road gates at the top and bottom, which means that as soon as the gate opens, if they say someone has to leave from the bottom or a truck comes in from the top, prisoners often look at that and go, ooh, it's an open door, I can get out, and then they would just do a blitz attempt out, and it would just cause all manner of problems. In order to alleviate that, you would have this airlock system, and then you would have to have automatic door openers, or just understand that it's going to take a long time for stuff to come in and out, and it was just a massive problem. So that, the ability to build bridges is amazing, because you can just bridge over the road, they go on the bridge, across, and then down. Also, if there's like little islands, or if you want to have a shortcut across water and rivers, then you can use that. So that is amazing. Rebalanced daily payments for high-risk inmates. Max sec, protective custody, death row, and criminally insane pay more. Good, because, well, I didn't think they did pay as much as they probably should have, considering the amount of armed guards and things that you often have to have, so that is good. Empty and occupied cells can be viewed in logistics via a new cell status button. That's very, very handy. Previously, in order to check the cell occupancy, whether it's occupied or not, you would just look at the grading, and if it had like a slash there, it means nobody's there. If it had like a number, it means that that was the one they were entitled to. So yeah, it was not a massive issue, but I really appreciate the addition of that. Extra prisoner action added to bios. Escort to infirmary, that could be quite useful. Search bar added to flooring menu, that is quite useful. Transfer prisoners are offered an intake. Don't entirely sure what that means, but yeah, should be alright, I guess. I think it might be like an event thing. Transfer prisoners are offered an intake. Maybe. Unique visitor direction option added to the deployment. That is something we specifically had problems with in the previous series, where we had the visitor direction. Oh, actually, we had other direction, didn't we? Because it's guards and then other direction. And they would follow that, and then they would go out. Now, I'm not too sure whether this will fix it. It is more likely to still have the problem with they won't go the way we want them to. But we now know the limitations that we can work around it. But the fact that you can have visitors come in and go specific routes is very, very good indeed. Foundations can now be built with more wall types. Again, this is something we specifically had problems with in the previous series, because we wanted to build white walls around the place, but we didn't want to build the entire foundation, have it build concrete or brick, and then have to redo it, because that would just cost us money. It's just a waste of money. So what we did is build the walls first and then built the foundation over it. So that's how we got around the problem. I didn't think that was a massive issue, but the fact that you can just select the wall type now is fairly good. I'm still not too sure why you don't just have the option to select your wall type, select your floor type, click and drag, and that will build all the foundations in the wall and floor you selected. That would be much better. We'll see if that ever is added to the game. Fog of War can now be turned off. Okay, cool. Don't think I've ever really thought about needing to turn it off, but the fact that you can do is always a good thing. Clone tool overhaul. Now this, along with, I think, bridges, are probably one of the best things being added. In fact, it might even overshadow the bridges, because I do like to make symmetrical prisons, or at least try and mirror things across, and just save time. Normally what we do is build one side, build the other, and then clone like across or up and down, but we'd have to build at least two sets of things to rotate things. However, now you don't need to. Clone tool, you can now rotate and flip walls and objects, now shown the clonable area and cover entire prisons, and you can even clone between saves beta. The construction speed has also been optimized. Haven't tried the latter, but have tried the former. So you can select an area, and rotate it around and then place it, and it rotates all of the objects in there as well as flipping them as well. You can do that, so that is really, really good. Overhaul planning. Now this is an interesting one. Build your plans, add doors and choose wall type. The construction speed has been optimized, but you can just build your plans, press a button, and it builds all of your plans. I haven't used that yet, but I can see it being quite useful, but also quite limiting if you build off the entire thing, because you can't select different sections. But anyway, more new items, walls and floors. Well, I'm pretty sure it said that back there, but anyway, good, just more stuff, more better. We've got improved quick rooms presentation, now showing where the walls will be built. That's okay. New desert plot option when creating a new game. Gravestones are supplied for every death in your prison. And exclamation mark. I don't know what that is. And then you've also got things like different crash fixes and just, you know, just better stuff. Just more improvements and more quality of life stuff, which I will not go through. Yeah, there's quite a bit of it. Either way, a nice chunky update, which is what we like. And this obviously has come with the Psych Ward DLC, which, as I mentioned, came, I believe, originally for console, but now you get a new prisoner type, which is criminally insane inmates. So let's have a quick look at that. We'll go to create a new prison. I'm going to put it on a large map, and you can see we now have more wardens as well. So we've got Hawk Hartman, a former bailsman. Hartman passes down valuable training techniques to his security staff. All guards drop staff keys less often, so escape attempts should be there should be fewer of them, because when staff get knocked out, or well, I say when, if they get knocked out. I guess it is a when, because it normally in most facilities is rather than when it's going to happen, rather than if it's going to happen. It is often inevitable. Yeah, it means that they can't, you know, pick up staff keys and then run out. Guard stamina replenishes on intake. That is good, I guess, because it means you can have more people turning up. It opens them some options there. We have Dr. Slugworth. When all other prisoners deny them, Slugworth opens the doors to the worst criminally insane inmates out there, believing he can help. Psychiatrist treatments are 20% more positive. Good. The chances of receiving a psychopath criminally insane inmate are higher. Okay. I have not experienced either of those, but I know the psychiatrist treatments is something you really need to do, because otherwise you get the inmates have different statuses and different requirements and act differently to different stimuli, so stress and also suppression. They don't act like normal prisoners, the standard prisoners. So yeah, that's you want to do the psychiatrist treatment, but the fact that we can get a psychopath is, yeah, interesting. We also have Dr. Hudson. Dr. Hudson is prepared to do what no other warden can do. Emergency services work 20% faster and arrive earlier, and cost to repairs reduced by 10%. So basically, you can make your prison really bad, and you can repair it just when you need to. So yes, I don't know when I would want to I don't know when I would want to make a facility specifically to utilize her abilities, but she is a useful option nonetheless. And obviously you've got your standard, it's just more balanced, no other options there. It would be nice if we had one, but there you go, default one. We also now have a guard dog, so you've got your classic, that's your classic there. You've got a companion, which is, I think, sort of like Gromit, of Wallace and Gromit. We've got a husky, a deadly trap for an escape moving through the snow. We've got a Dalmatian, we've got a cat, because not everyone likes dogs, and we've got a direwolf, who would even try to escape. Interesting. Yeah, that's a thing. Either way, on the right hand side you can see we have snowbound plot. We've seen that before. We've got lunar plot and desert plot. We have now where is it, criminally insane inmates. So deal with inmates who are constantly feeling suppressed, require new padded cells and psychiatric help to reduce their privacy, comfort and safety and freedom needs before they ignite. Turning this setting on will also allow some regular inmates to be driven insane in your prison. If their needs are not catered for, inmates turning criminally insane can be turned off in map settings. So you, as I said, you can get your normal prisoners, but also if you don't look after them, they can develop these psychological quirks, and then you have to sort of treat them. We'll touch on it a bit. I don't know how subtle or not this is going to be in terms of like mental health stuff. We'll see as we see the series progress on. But I'm guessing it's the prison architect touch, where it may or may not look at that and be a bit sympathetic to it, or whether it'll just be put them in an electric chair and all that sort of stuff. We shall see, we shall see. But either way, we will take a look at that and whatnot. We have the option for bureaucracy research, so you have everything researched, which is actually quite useful. Obviously, unlimited funds we've had for a while, but having everything unlocked is pretty good. But what we want to do for this facility, I think, is go with Dr. Slugworth. I'm thinking Slugworth because its psychiatric treatments are better, 20% more positive, but we also get more psychopaths, and that means we're just going like, you know, really, really difficult from the get-go. We'll probably go with I mean, we could go with another snow prison, but I don't think so. I mean, I'm completely open for options. As I said, this is not something I'm going to plan off now. I would more than happy to take your thoughts and feelings on this one and comments to see what we build. But I'm feeling sort of Dr. Slugworth's traits are going to be quite useful and quite interesting. But which warden out of these three would you like to see? So we've got Hawk Hartman, Dr. Slugworth, and Dr. Hudson. And in terms of the guard dogs, by all means, let us know on that one. I think I want to go for a large facility with fog or war on. Probably, in fact, no, certainly we want lakes with fairly conditions. I'm not too keen on gangs. I think this new stuff is enough. Criminally inmates, definitely yes. We'll have events on. We'll have, we're not going to have weather and temperature, and we're not going to do staff needs, but we will have escape plans, and that'll be us. So we'll click play there, and immediately the phone's ringing. So CEO's guidelines on criminally insane inmates. Here's some important guidelines to assure you are prepared with the appropriate facilities and staff in order to take proper care of criminally insane inmates. 1. Criminally insane inmates must have padded cells. You can transform standard cells into padded cells via the rooms menu. Once you have padded cells, you'll be able to accept your first batch of inmates. Number 2, make sure you have psychiatrists and orderly staff members, which is a new type of staff members, on your payroll. Psychiatrists will also require special officers. Set up some psychiatric consultation programs for your criminally insane inmates. These one-to-one sessions with the psychiatrist and padded cells help keep the inmates under control. Upgrading the psychiatrist's office will also improve their treatment ability. So if we go over, I'll just close that for a moment. If we go over to our objects, we can see that it's a big list. It is now, it's just bloated, which is why we do have a filter list for A to Z, cost, and then quantity owned, and then by room, and then most used, and then default. But we have things like, where is it? We have the, what could we probably do? We probably extend it, we probably actually won't be able to see it because I believe it is, yeah, it's actually something you need to unlock from the bureaucracy. We have the anatomy model, improves the psychiatrist's office grade. After consultation, reduces criminally insane inmate suppression and certain needs by 5%. We've got a flipboard, we've got the Rorschach test and medicine cabinet. So all of these here on leather sofas. So all of these can be put into the psychologist's room, and they will, psychiatrist, not the psychologist, the psychiatrist room, and that will improve their training. Unlocked after 20 or more psychiatric sessions. So that's something I don't think we've seen in previous builds where we have things that are locked. Normally they're all locked behind the prison bureaucracy, but not through how many programs you've done. So that might be sort of foreshadowing what change you might see in the future. So pretty cool. Anyway, back to this thing here. Left untreated and unchecked, a criminally insane inmate may exhibit unpredictable behaviours, attempt to break out, or turn violent. Okay. Orderlies will escort and heal, and they do not suppress inmates like regular guards. You also need orderlies to fit your psychopath criminally insane inmates with straitjackets at the day's end. Right. This is getting, this is sound more difficult by the minute. Criminally insane inmates mixing with others can sometimes lead to trouble. It's a good idea to build and segregate criminally insane sectors to canteens, yards, and other areas, and you may wish to have psychiatrist offices near your criminally insane cell blocks. Finally, inmates from other security levels now have a chance to become criminally insane, so keep an eye out. So basically, if you have them in here, it's sort of like the way the that's an interesting bit of water there. It's a bit like the way the gangs work, where they specifically go around recruit if you've got the type of person. But basically, if you have these criminally insane inmates, it can sort of pass those traits on, and then obviously it means you have to then focus on that and move them over. In terms of, as I said, some of the new foundation stuff, you can see we have options for building brick and building concrete, but you go to more. And it says tiled wall, art deco, all this sort of stuff. So you can just go, right, I want this classy here, and they'll go ahead and build that, which is pretty cool. As I said, I don't know why you don't just have a select your flooring, select your wall, select your floor, and then build. That would be quite cool. Anyway, we have loads of options now for the doors. We've got all these jail door yellow stripes, orange stripes, all that sort of stuff. We've got a secret door, so we'll put a secret door to this thing here. In terms of flooring, as I said, new stuff. So grass corners, so you can say place that like there and then rotate it around and do that, and that means that we get, actually let me just turn the intake off here because that's going to be all kinds of problematic. Actually, what's this? We've got criminally insane. This categories you have on your, this categories you can deliver to your prison. Oh yeah. So what's that there? Criminally insane inmates feel constant level of suppression. Feel a constant level of suppression. Okay. And require new padded cells and psychiatric help to reduce privacy, comfort, and safety and freedom needs. Yeah. And then prisoner transfer. High-risk prisoners that are too dangerous for other prisons are offered from time to time. Be warned, there's a reason they pay highly. These are hardened criminals that no other facility wants to take. Right. Now that is interesting. I like that option. I mean, I don't like what's probably going to happen when you get them, but the ability to be able to transfer one of these, it's basically, I think it's a way of getting legendary prisoners into your facility because of your choosing, basically. Is that built yet? That is working. They're just working on that one there. Have they built that? That is a pathway, apparently. Is that right? Grass corner. Okay. No more extra ones. Sort of a pathway thing. Just like have a strip like that. Hang on. Like that. Huh. Some interesting decisions. You can make like sort of a pathway going around. Anyway, that was some of the bits there. We've got a lunar surface, grass and stone. We've got limestone, which is that indoor only? It is indoor only. Let's have a look at the limestone with the extra wall there. That is... Oh, actually, I quite like that. That's quite good. In terms of objects, loads of new stuff. So you can say like sign canteen. So you can place a canteen sign there. You've got an infirmary sign. I mean, I don't think those are... I think those are probably mutually exclusive. You've got a coat stand, a resting place for staff coats and hats, indoor only. So yeah, there's loads of stuff that's been added. I'm not too sure what a lot of the uses are for like a moose head on the wall, but there you are. An outdoor table. Oh, that's good. It's like a park benchy type thing. I know in previous series we've made things that are not sort of... I know they are technically still a prison, but we've made them more like towny or something like that, like wooden stools and wooden tables. You can see the stars there and all of the new stuff. We can see there's some of the best stuff here. We've got a footbridge, so we go to footbridge and you can see that you can build it anywhere you want, but the main thing is you build it over here. So you click and drag, it expands it across. We can go for a steel footbridge, which is like the sort of second part of it, and you build across there, and I think you can build quite far with it. Let me go over here and see just how far we can bridge the gap. So from there, we can only go across, we can't go up or down. That's a shame. Can we do any of that with that one? No, we can't. No. So it looks like it's only from left to right. Decided we can't go... Well, it's left to right and right to left, so it's only horizontal rather than vertical. That's a bit of a shame, but at least it's a good start. So you can see we now have these bits in here. So you would have a wall up to there or whatever, and then they could just go up, across, and then down. So it means if you expand to this right-hand side, excuse me, they can then get across. So that is pretty good. We have staff, which we can now get a psychiatrist. We also have, if we expand that, lots of other stuff that's been locked out. So we've got, where are they? Orderly, so medical staff, especially trained in the handling of the criminally insane. So they're actually a mix between a guard and a doctor, so they can sedate prisoners. They can they're obviously more trained in protection and things like that, so they're not as vulnerable as a doctor, but they're not as tough or armed as a guard, so they're in between the two. No extra utilities as far as I'm aware. In terms of the clone tool, or let me see if I can give you a bit of a better overview. So let's put in some more stuff. So we've got an office chair, which I'm going to put in this corner with, say, like a just put like an office desk in front of that. So you can see that there's no real like symmetry here. It's just all over the place. We'll put a doormat in there as well as probably a drain underneath there. So we have that in now, and if we wanted to say build, if this was the center of the facility and we wanted to build sort of mirrored up, we'd have to then, what we'd probably do is plan it off and say, right, that's this bit in here, and then we do all of that. Whereas now what we can do is we can go to quick build cloning, and then you can select all the clone, which is now highlighted a bit better, and you can press R and it rotates it around. So that is completely rotated around. However, it is rotated, so you can see it's not exactly the same. However, if you press F, it flips everything, which means now you can do a complete clone and get it the other side. It's not perfect because, as you can see, it's put the these signs on the inside, but everything else is in there. So that is very, very powerful. It means that we can design one side and then go to the other. So yeah, that's really, really good. We've also got obviously more things like the psychiatrist's office and padded cells small and things like that. I know it's been called to build the the entire facility out of just the quick build, and we might have to look at that at some point. Actually, there you go. Look, so you can select your wall. This is what I've been on about from the foundation stuff. I don't know why that option isn't in here. Just build your foundation and you just select the bottom bit with your quick build. I assume that will be added in the future because, well, it just makes perfect sense. Because now you can just go, there you go. I want Art Deco on that one. I want cushioned on that one. I want burgundy on that. Burgundy? Oriental? Yeah, there's loads of stuff you can add. Yeah, that's pretty cool. In terms of the walls and such, though, so we can go ahead and go across there, and we're going to do this. So we're roughly planning off... you might notice that when you're building with this, it seems to be a weird quirk. When these are built, it still has the planning around there. I think it's because I was... Why has it got the planning there? It's because it wasn't finished. Yeah, it's just to know that it's not finished. Yeah, when we're building with this and moving stuff around, it was sort of glitching out when these are getting built. We'll go for doors, and we'll say what type of door. We'll say, I don't know, a jail door, large jail door, solitary door, remote door, door secret. You can select the type of door. Probably we'll just go for a staff door. We'll do that, and then objects. You can't select the type of objects, but you can do that. But you can say build plans, and you'll say, right, wall type selection, ready to build your action. We'll go ahead to, we'll say, I want, for this one, a hedge. No, maybe not build a hedge. Wall is going to be wall classy green, okay, and then it actions what you've ordered it to build, but it is just the walls and the doors. I don't think it's going to put the foundation in. So a nice little thing there. Just don't know exactly how useful it's going to be for what we do, which is normally plan off the full thing, but that's pretty cool. It just means that you can put like the walls around the outside and say plan your wall and then just build it, and it'll action the entire thing. But there you go. That's a bit of the planning thing. As I said, there's probably a lot of other stuff that I haven't shown you because it's not an exhaustive list, and I do like the Art Deco one. We can go for some full-on Deckard's apartment Blade Runner stuff. The cushioned wall, it'll have its purpose, same as this other one, and that Oriental one looks quite nice as well. And the flooring is this sort of red patterned carpet. Interesting, and a nice red leather chair fits in. Actually looks quite cozy, this one here. Either way, that has been a very, very I say brief. We've run through most of the, I believe, additions and improvements there. Overall, very impressed with what we've seen here. Really like a lot of this stuff. Still some like inconsistencies, as I mentioned, about like, you know, you can select the walls there, but this one you got the mortar. Yeah, just a couple of things that I would hope to be sort of tweaked and changed as we progress on, but I can't really knock it too much because, quite frankly, it's a big chunk of new stuff, which is more than welcome there. A lot of this stuff, like things like the signs, you know, you don't need any of these things, but it's just nice to have the option. Don't know about the lamp. I mean, will things like the lamp there, will that improve the grading of something? I don't know. Let's go ahead and go for sell, and we'll place that in there. And actually, isn't, yeah, we'll see if we can build it properly. We'll minimize that and minimize it to what we just need. So it'll say bed, toilet. Let's see what grading that is. With the size, it'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, probably. Traditionally, it would probably be about 5, but we'll see what this is. We won't be able to because I don't have the option for actually unlocking grading because it's down there. Either way, we'll check that out in the previous series. But I'll just quickly mention what I want to do in this next build series. We'll go ahead and we'll build this facility with the standard wall around the outside. This time we will definitely go ahead and have the wall like so. So we have this nice gap of at least 10 around the edge. That's adding a whole chunk of wall. Right, let's just cancel that, shall we? Yeah, we have this whole chunk of wall around the outside like that, where we do it so that... Don't know what it's doing there. That's interesting. We have the wall around the outside with a nice distance of 10 or 11 from the end, so contraband can't be flung in. And we want to have it probably on a large map in order to have it more organic. So instead of having it with the standard reception there, and then a sort of corridor here, and then everything symmetrical on the top and bottom, I want it more sort of ad hoc. So we have, like, say, not a reception there, but maybe like a security room there, and then like a section that comes off to like a cell block there, and then we'll have like another entrance of a cell block there, and you know that's like your main entrance in this one. I don't know if I explain it entirely exactly how I want it. I don't know what's leaving them bits on there. Pathways. That's weird. It's leaving these little extra bits. Yeah, and we have it sort of along like so. And that's like, that'll be like an entranceway to a security room, and then the bits either side, and then for the kitchen and canteen it might be like down here. So basically it's not like the previous ones we've made where we have this like facilities where it's very symmetrical, very regimed. We're going to have a lot of pathways. We're going to have like trees around the place, like hedges. It's not going to look very dull and dour and depressing, and probably it's going to look quite green with a lot of, like, say, grass and trees, hedges and things like that. It's going to look like quite a decent one and more ad hoc, as I said, than the way we've done it otherwise. We will, however, have a section probably in a far corner which has got an extra wall. And in here we'll have like a sort of big area for our criminally insane inmates where we keep them away from the rest of it, but we'll still have to have all of the usual rooms. So, you know, kitchen, canteen, we'll have to have yards somewhere. We'll probably have a couple of yards. Also probably like things like the showers will be within the cell blocks, like the cells go either side with a shower at the top end or something like that, as well as you know, your visitation will be off to one side. Basically we want to make it just completely different to what we've done in the last sort of several series. So that's the rough idea. This is not a plan, that's the rough idea. As I said, I'd like to have planned it off here, but needs must, because my throat really hurts. So once again, apologies. Either way, we're going to leave it there for now. That is a very quick overview of the latest update and DLC. That is the Psych Ward DLC as well as the Sneeze update. Like some of the new stuff, like a lot of the changes. So looking forward to jumping in with this build. By all means, comments in the comments. Let me know what sort of things you would like to see when it comes to things like the warden, type of dog, the size of maps, all of the optional extras we can put on. I say I'm leaning towards large map with Dr. Slugworth. Not too bothered about the dog. Probably, I don't know, the Wallace and Gromit one. A companion, a guard's best friend. Mainly because someone getting chased by that would just be just funny rather than... it'd be hilarious rather than anything else. Probably go for lakes, because then that aids the... building in an ad hoc way, because we can't say, right, we've just got a flat plane. So I quite like that. Probably escape plans, the events on there, criminally insane inmates, not weather and temperature, and not staff needs. That's my rough idea for now, but by all means let me know what you think. Comments in the comments. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.